Listen to me. That heartbreak wasn't a mistake. Allah let you meet them, dream with them, love them, only to tear them away from you, not to punish you, not because you weren't enough, but because if He didn't break your heart, you would have broken your soul. What you lost wasn't meant to stay. And when you finally see why, you'll thank Him through tears you haven't cried yet. 1. Allah breaks you to build you. Sometimes Allah lets your heart love someone so deeply, only to let that same heart break. You don't plan it. You don't see it coming. One moment, they feel like home. The next, you're standing in the ruins of everything you thought you were building together. And in the silence, your soul whispers through the ache, Ya Allah, why would you let me meet them if they were never meant to stay? You replay every conversation, every promise, every late-night laugh that felt like forever. You scroll through old messages just to feel something familiar again. You close your eyes, hoping maybe it'll all make sense if you hold on a little longer. But no answer comes. Only the weight of reality, only the heaviness in your chest that refuses to leave no matter how many times you try to distract yourself. And yet, what feels like heartbreak to you is protection from Allah. He knows what your heart doesn't. He sees what your eyes couldn't. He heard the words whispered behind closed doors that you were never meant to hear. He saw the intentions they never showed you. You only saw the version of them they wanted you to see. Allah saw everything, every thought, every weakness, every hidden choice waiting to unfold. So He stepped in. He closed the door you were fighting to keep open, not because you didn't deserve them, but because you deserved something greater, something your heart doesn't yet have the language to ask for. This isn't rejection. This is redirection. Allah knew what this love would cost you. He knew how much of yourself you would lose trying to hold on to them. He knew the tears you would cry years from now if He let this story continue. So He ended it here, not to break you, to save you. I know it doesn't feel like saving right now. I know it feels like the air has been stolen from your lungs, like someone pressed pause on your life and left you stuck in the silence between heartbeats. Like no matter how much you explain it, no one could possibly understand the way your chest tightens every time their name crosses your mind. But one day, you'll understand why Allah allowed this. One day, you'll see the bigger picture He was painting. One day, you'll whisper, Ya Allah, thank you for removing what I begged you to keep. Because not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay. Some people are sent to awaken you. Some are sent to teach you what love isn't, so you recognize what it truly is when it arrives. Some are sent to test your patience, your strength, your heart, and yes, your faith. This isn't punishment, it's preparation. Right now, Allah is rebuilding you, piece by piece, silent moment by silent moment. Every tear you've cried has washed away a version of you that could no longer carry the weight of where He's taking you. He's teaching your heart to stop clinging to what can leave and start holding on to the one who never will. This heartbreak is not the ending, it's the unspoken beginning of something greater. The silence you hate so much right now is where Allah is shaping the next chapter of your life. And one night, not too far from now, you will look back on this exact moment and realize it was the night Allah saved you. You will stand in a place so full of peace, so full of love, so full of alignment with everything you once prayed for. And you will finally understand, Ya Allah, you always knew. You always loved me more than I loved what you removed. This breaking you feel right now is not your destruction, it's your becoming. The version of you Allah is shaping in this silence will rise stronger, softer, wiser, built on foundations no human can shake. And when the soul Allah has written for you arrives, you'll know there will be no chasing, no begging, No sleepless nights wondering if you're enough, because what's written for you will never need to be forced. Until that day comes, hold on to this truth. What Allah removes was never yours to keep, and what's meant for you will find you, even if it has to cross oceans to do so. 2. Rejection is divine redirection. Sometimes Allah says no to the very thing you wanted most, and in that moment, it feels like your whole world is collapsing. You planned your life around them, you prayed for them by name, you built a future in your mind where they were by your side, believing they were sent for you. And then suddenly, without warning, everything ends. You wake up one day and realize they're gone, and nothing looks or feels the same. The places you once loved now carry memories you can't bear to touch. Every corner of your life feels soaked in their presence. Their voice still echoes in your head. You see them in the smallest details, a song, a street, a quiet moment you thought belonged to both of you. And in the silence, when everyone else is asleep, you ask yourself over and over again, Ya Allah, why would you let me meet them if they were never meant to stay? The pain is raw. It's heavy in your chest. It hurts to breathe. It hurts to think. You start replaying everything, looking for signs you missed, trying to find the exact moment the story shifted from forever to over. But what feels like rejection to you is redirection from Allah. He knows what your heart doesn't. He sees what you can't. He hears the words whispered behind closed doors that you were never meant to hear. He sees the intentions they never showed you, the choices they never told you, the pain you would have discovered too late. Allah doesn't just see the person you love today. He sees the version of them you would have faced years from now. He knows the nights you would have cried quietly, the days you would have walked with a heavy heart, the prayers you would have whispered from a place of exhaustion and regret. He saw all of it, and He loved you too much to let you live it. That's why He closed the door, not to punish you, not because you weren't good enough, but because you deserve a peace you cannot yet imagine. You deserve a love that will not pull you away from Him. You deserve a heart that was written to carry yours without breaking it. Allah says in the Quran, but perhaps you hate a thing, and it is good for you, and perhaps you love a thing, and it is bad for you. Allah knows, while you do not know. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:216. You loved something Allah knew wasn't good for you. You held on to something that wasn't written to stay, and He removed it not because He wanted to see you suffer, but because He wanted to protect you from a greater suffering you couldn't see coming. This isn't rejection. This is protection dressed as heartbreak. One day, when you've healed, you'll look back and realize that this ending was the most merciful thing that could have happened. You'll see how this no created space for what Allah had written for you all along. You'll stand in a moment that feels so peaceful, so aligned with who you are, and whisper to yourself, Ya Allah, now I understand why you didn't let them stay. But right now, you can't see that day. Right now, you're sitting in the middle of the silence, surrounded by pieces of dreams you thought would last forever. It feels unbearable, but this moment, this exact heartbreak, is shaping you in ways you can't yet see. Sometimes Allah takes away what you thought you couldn't live without, just to give you what your soul has been searching for all along. One day, you will thank Allah for every unanswered dua, but right now, it feels impossible to believe that. Right now, your chest feels heavy, and your mind keeps looping back to every moment you shared with them. You wake up in the middle of the night, and for a few seconds, you forget they're gone. Then reality hits you like a wave, and it feels as though you're drowning all over again. You tell yourself you should move on, but your heart won't let go. You wonder if maybe you could have done something differently. You wonder if you weren't enough. You wonder why Allah would let your heart feel so much for someone who was never written for you. But what you don't see yet is that Allah is protecting you from what you cannot see. He knows the future that unfolds beyond this heartbreak. He knows where every path leads, and He is pulling you away from a road that would have led to pain you could not carry. Not everyone who touches your heart is meant to stay. Some people enter your life to teach you who you are. They awaken parts of you that were sleeping. They show you the boundaries you didn't know you needed. They teach you the difference between temporary and eternal. And when they leave, it hurts because they were real to you. Your love was real. Your prayers were real. Your hope was real. But their role in your life was never meant to last forever. Allah sends some people as lessons, not lifetimes. He sends them to grow you, to prepare you, to shift you into becoming the person who can finally receive what He has truly written for you. Without them, you wouldn't be who you're becoming right now. Without this heartbreak, you wouldn't be turning to Him in the silence, whispering your pain into sujood. This isn't the end of your story. It's the redirection of it. There will come a day when you meet someone who feels like an answered prayer. Someone who doesn't just enter your life, but fits into it in ways you didn't know were possible. Someone who protects your peace instead of disturbing it. Someone who brings you closer to Allah, not further away. And when that day comes, you'll finally understand why every no had to happen. You'll understand why the doors you begged Allah to open stayed closed. You'll understand why He pulled you away from what you thought you needed most. Until that day, trust that Allah's plans are never meant to harm you. He is not ignoring your du'as. He is answering them in ways you cannot yet see. His no today is making space for a far better yes tomorrow. So, let this heartbreak bring you closer to Him, not further away. Pour your tears into your prayers. Tell Allah every secret, every ache, every longing your heart carries. Because when you give Him your heart fully, He will never return it to you empty. One day, you'll look back and whisper through grateful tears, Ya Allah, now I understand. Thank you for protecting me from what I thought I wanted. Thank you for guiding me to what my heart truly needed all along. Because with Allah, rejection is never loss. It is always redirection towards something greater, something softer, something perfectly written for your soul. 3. Some people arrive only to awaken you. Sometimes Allah sends people into your life who feel like they were carved out of your prayers. The way they appear, the timing, the connection, it feels too perfect to be random. You meet them and, without warning, a quiet corner of your heart that you thought was asleep finally wakes up. For the first time in a long time, you feel alive again. You start imagining possibilities. You plan futures in your mind. You tell yourself that this must be Allah's answer, that this is the person your soul has been waiting for. You build dreams around them, convinced they are here to stay, but then, just as suddenly as they arrived, they leave. And you are left standing in the silence, holding pieces of your heart you didn't know could shatter so easily. You stare at the ceiling at night, whispering into the darkness, Ya Allah, why would you let me meet them if they were never meant to stay? It feels cruel. It feels unfair. You can't make sense of it. But what you don't yet realize is that they weren't sent to stay. They were sent to awaken you. Some people arrive in your life not as destinies, but as mirrors. They reflect parts of you that were asleep. They pull emotions out of you that you forgot you could feel. They show you the kind of love your heart is capable of giving. And then, when their role is complete, Allah writes their exit not as punishment, but as purpose. Because without them, you would have stayed the same. Without them, you wouldn't have discovered who you are. Without them, you wouldn't have known the places inside you that still needed healing, the wounds you thought were gone, but were only buried. They were never yours to keep. They were your awakening. And yes, it hurts when they leave. It feels like they took parts of you with them. You replay conversations and moments, wishing you could hold on to just one more second, just one more chance to change how the story ended. But Allah's plan is perfect, even when it feels painful. Some people are sent to shake your soul, not to stay in your life. They are sent to show you what you didn't know you were missing, so when what's truly written for you arrives, you'll recognize it instantly. You'll appreciate it differently. You'll love in a way that doesn't lose yourself this time. These people are lessons wearing the face of love, and lessons, no matter how beautiful, are never meant to last forever. You see, not every soul that crosses your path is sent to walk it with you. Some people come into your life like chapters you were always meant to read, not because they are your ending, but because they are the doorway to your becoming. They come when your heart is numb, when your prayers are quiet, when your soul is asleep. And without warning, they shake you awake. They make you feel something you thought you'd forgotten how to feel. They breathe color into a life that was turning gray. They bring warmth to a place inside you that had been cold for far too long. But here's what you don't see while it's happening. They were never sent to stay. Allah writes some people into your story, not because they are your destination, but because they carry keys. Keys that unlock doors inside you that you didn't even know existed. Keys that open pieces of your soul that had been locked away by old wounds, fears, and disappointments. And when those doors are opened, when the lesson is planted deep within you, Allah writes their exit. It hurts, doesn't it? The sudden silence, the unspoken goodbyes, the weight of dreams you built in your heart collapsing like they were never real. You feel like something was stolen from you, like Allah took away the one thing that finally made you feel alive again. But what feels like loss is actually a release. They were never yours. They were the reminder, the spark, the disruption your soul needed to rise from its sleep. Because without them, you wouldn't have seen what was missing inside you. Without them, you wouldn't have discovered the depth of your own heart, its capacity to love, to hurt, to heal, and to grow. Without them, you wouldn't have prayed the way you prayed when you lost them, crying silently into your sajda, whispering your pain into hands trembling under the weight of it all. They were the trigger, not the destination. They were the mirror, not the forever. And one day, when the dust of this heartbreak settles, you'll see it clearly. You'll realize that the version of you who met them no longer exists. You'll realize that you've outgrown the pain, the confusion, the longing, because you've stepped into the version of yourself they were sent to awaken all along. This is why Allah sent them. Not to stay, but to shift you. Not to complete you, but to show you that you were never incomplete to begin with. Not to give you forever, but to prepare you for it when it finally arrives. One day, you'll meet the person who is written for you, the soul that fits next to yours, without forcing, without chasing, without breaking. And in that moment, you'll understand why the others had to leave. You'll understand why Allah didn't let certain hands hold your heart, because He was saving it for someone who would protect it the way it deserves. But until that day, trust this. The people who awakened you were not mistakes. They were messengers. They were signposts. They were part of Allah's plan to shape you into the person you are becoming. So don't curse their presence. Don't regret their arrival. And don't cling to what Allah has already released. Be grateful instead, not for losing them, but for what you found within yourself when they entered and when they left. Because one day, you'll look back at the version of you that's hurting right now and whisper softly, "If only you knew, none of this was loss." It was Allah's way of preparing you for something greater than anything you imagined. And on that day, the pain will finally make sense. For Allah's no. is a silent mercy. Sometimes Allah answers you without words. Sometimes His silence is the answer. And sometimes the most loving thing He can ever do for you is say no. You don't see it at first. You sit there holding your heart, praying for something so deeply, believing with everything inside you that this is the one thing you need to be happy. You ask Allah again and again. You cry in sujood. You whisper their name between your du'as. And when the door finally closes, you feel like your entire world has collapsed. You thought they were yours. You thought this was your story. You thought your prayers had been heard the way you imagined them. But then comes the silence, and you're left sitting in the aftermath, staring at an ending you never saw coming, wondering, Ya Allah, why would you give me this love if you were only going to take it away? And the answer is mercy. What you call rejection, Allah calls protection. What you see as heartbreak, Allah sees as saving you from a storm you didn't even know was coming. There are tears He already saw you would cry years from now. There are wounds He already knew would break you if He let this story continue. And so, He steps in quietly, lovingly, decisively, and closes the door you were fighting to keep open. He doesn't always explain why. He doesn't show you the dangers He just removed you from. He doesn't unfold the conversations you were never meant to hear, or the choices you were never meant to witness. He simply takes away what you begged Him to keep, because He loves you too much to let you settle for less than what He has written for you. This is Allah's silent mercy. He knows the parts of your heart that still believe you can't live without them. He knows the weight you're carrying now, the ache in your chest, the sleepless nights that feel endless. He knows how many times you've stared at your phone, wishing for a message that will never come. He knows how many times you've replayed old memories, looking for answers that don't exist. And still, He takes them away. Because what He has written for you is not tied to them. Your future does not depend on who walked away. Your happiness is not trapped in someone else's hands. You only see this moment, but Allah sees the entire story. If He had let them stay, you might have prayed less. If He had let them stay, you might have drifted further from Him. If He had let them stay, you might have sacrificed pieces of yourself trying to hold on to someone who was never meant to be yours. So yes, Allah's no breaks you now, but it saves you from breaking later. It saves you from falling apart in ways you couldn't recover from. It saves you from losing pieces of yourself to someone who was never written to carry them. One day, when Allah finally places the person who is truly written for you into your life, you will understand why these doors had to stay closed. You will understand why the tears you cried in this chapter were necessary. You will understand that this heartbreak was not punishment, it was preparation. And on that day, when your heart finally feels the peace it was always searching for, you will whisper through grateful tears, Ya Allah, thank you for saying no when I only wanted to hear yes. There are moments when you will look at the sky and ask, why, Ya Allah? Why would you give me something so beautiful only to take it away? And in that moment, the silence feels unbearable. You want a reason, you want a sign, you want clarity, but all you get is nothing, and yet that silence is the answer. Sometimes Allah removes something from your life because He knows it was already removing you from Him. Sometimes He pulls you away from what you love because He knows it would have blinded you to what you truly need. You think you lost something precious, but what you lost was the very thing that would have cost you yourself. You don't see it now, but He does. He always has. He knows the conversations you were never meant to hear. He knows the nights you would have cried quietly, questioning why you weren't enough. He knows the heavy sighs you would have carried alone, hiding your pain from the world while pretending to be okay. He knows the choices they would have made years from now, the wounds you would have endured in silence, the parts of yourself you would have sacrificed just to keep them close. So he said no. Not because you didn't deserve love, not because you aren't worthy, not because your du'as were ignored. He said no because his mercy is greater than your understanding. He saw where this path led, and he couldn't bear to let you walk it. And I know how hard it is to believe this when the ache in your chest feels heavier than your own body. I know how lonely it feels when you wake up and reach for a hand that isn't there anymore. I know how it feels to carry dreams you built together, only to watch them crumble into dust between your fingers. But listen closely. This isn't the end. This is the saving. Because if they were truly written for you, they wouldn't have left. What's meant for you doesn't require begging, chasing, or breaking yourself into pieces just to make it stay. What's meant for you will always choose you, no matter what stands in the way. You are not being punished right now. You are being prepared. Allah isn't taking from you. He's clearing the space. He's making room in your heart for something greater, something softer, something safer than anything you've known. He's shaping you in the silence, teaching you how to love without losing yourself, how to surrender without falling apart, how to give without forgetting who you are. And maybe that's why his no had to come, because there are parts of you that you still haven't discovered yet, and sometimes the only way to find them is through loss. This heartbreak you're carrying is not empty. It's the soil where Allah is planting the seeds of your future peace. One day, you'll sit beside the person who was written for you all along, and it will feel like coming home after a lifetime of wandering. You'll look into their eyes and realize why every no had to happen. On that day, you'll understand that Allah was never silent. His answer was there all along, whispered between every tear, wrapped inside every closed door. You'll whisper softly, "Ya Allah, now I see it. Now I understand why you said no." Until that day, trust Him. Trust the plans you cannot see. Trust the timing you do not understand. Because every door Allah closes is His way of protecting you from something you weren't built to carry, while guiding you towards something far better than you ever imagined. You haven't been forgotten. You haven't been abandoned. You've been chosen to be protected from battles you never even knew were ahead of you. And one night, when you're finally standing in the place Allah always meant for you, you'll feel it in your chest, the peace that stayed hidden from you for so long. The heartbreak will make sense. The tears will make sense. The unanswered prayers will make sense. Because His no was never a rejection. It was always love. It was always mercy. It was always Him guiding you home. 5. What leaves was never written to stay. Some people were never written to stay, no matter how tightly you held on to them. You thought they were yours. You built dreams around their presence. You prayed for them by name, asking Allah to keep them, to write them into your story, to make them your forever. You gave pieces of yourself you'd never given to anyone else. You believed, deep in your heart, that losing them was impossible. But then it happened. They left. Sometimes they walked away quietly. Sometimes they broke you loudly. Sometimes they stayed, but their heart didn't. And now you're standing in the ruins of everything you thought was certain, trying to understand how something that felt so real could disappear so suddenly. You keep asking yourself, what did I do wrong? Was I not enough? Did I fail them somehow? But the truth you cannot yet see is this. What leaves you was never yours to begin with. What's written for you doesn't require you to beg for it to stay. It doesn't slip through your fingers no matter how tightly you hold on. If Allah allowed it to leave, it was never written to remain. I know how much it hurts to hear that right now. I know how deep the ache runs when every memory reminds you of what you lost. The places you once loved are heavy now. The songs you used to play bring tears you can't stop. The laughter you once shared echoes like a ghost in your mind. It feels like pieces of your heart are scattered across moments you'll never get back. But listen closely. Allah never subtracts without preparing to multiply. Sometimes He has to remove what you think you need to make space for what He knows you deserve. Sometimes He lets people walk away, not because they were bad for you, but because their chapter in your story has ended. Holding on would only keep you trapped in a place He never intended you to stay. If they were written for you, they would still be here. You don't have to chase what's meant for you. You don't have to break yourself into pieces to convince someone to love you, to choose you, to stay. What's written for you comes with ease. It finds you without forcing, without begging, without bleeding yourself dry just to keep it close. This isn't punishment. This isn't failure. This isn't proof that you weren't enough. This is Allah protecting you from living a life that was never meant for your peace. He writes stories you cannot yet see. He closes doors you don't yet understand. And one day, when the person who was always written for you finally arrives, when they carry your heart like it was always theirs, when you finally breathe in a peace that doesn't come and go, you'll look back at this moment and whisper through grateful tears, Ya Allah, now I see it. Now I understand why you let them leave. Because the truth is, if their presence was necessary for your purpose, they wouldn't have been able to walk away. What left you was never meant to build the future. Allah is preparing for you. Some people come into your life to teach you, not to stay. They are lessons wearing the face of love, and when their role is complete, Allah writes their exit, no matter how tightly you hold on, no matter how many tears you cry, no matter how many nights you beg Him to change His decree. You think you've lost something, but what you've really lost is only what was holding you back from what's waiting ahead. One day, this pain will make sense. One day, this emptiness will feel like the necessary clearing before the blessing arrives. One day, when Allah places what's truly written for you in your hands, you'll finally understand why nothing else lasted. Until that day, trust His wisdom. Trust the closed doors. Trust the people who leave. Because Allah never lets go of what is meant for you. And if it could walk away, it was never yours to keep. You spend nights wondering why they walked away when you gave them everything. You replay conversations in your head, looking for the moment it all changed, as if understanding where it went wrong will make the ache in your chest easier to carry. But the truth is, there is no single moment. There is no mistake to fix. There is no alternate version of this story where they stay. Because some souls are not written to be yours, no matter how deeply you love them. And I know how much that hurts to hear when your heart refuses to let go. I know how impossible it feels to accept when everything inside you is still holding on. But Allah writes stories differently than we do. Where you see an ending, He sees protection. Where you feel abandoned, He sees preparation. What's truly yours cannot be lost. It cannot slip through your hands. It cannot choose someone else over you. It will come and stay because it was written to, and if it could leave, it was never yours. You keep blaming yourself, but this isn't about you being enough or not enough. You were always enough. Allah doesn't remove people to punish you. He removes them because they're no longer aligned with where He's taking you. They were part of your journey, yes, but not part of your destination. Sometimes Allah writes people into your life to guide you to a lesson, not to hold your hand forever. They arrive carrying a mirror, showing you parts of yourself you didn't know existed, your strength, your depth, your capacity to love, your need to heal, and once the lesson is planted deep within you, they leave. It hurts because their presence felt like home. It hurts because you thought they were your forever. But the truth is, they were your bridge. A bridge to growth, a bridge to self-discovery. A bridge to the version of you who is ready for what Allah has truly written for you. This heartbreak you're carrying right now is shaping you in silence. It's softening edges inside you that had hardened over time. It's peeling away attachments that were weighing you down. It's bringing you closer to Allah in ways comfort never could. And maybe that's why it had to happen. Maybe if Allah had let them stay, you would have kept building your life around something temporary, never realizing how much greater He was preparing for you. Maybe if they hadn't left, you would have never turned back to Him in the way you do now, whispering your pain in sujood, feeling the closeness of His mercy wash over you with every tear. One day, you'll thank Him for this heartbreak. One day, you'll look back and see that this pain was not a detour, it was the path. Without it, you wouldn't have grown into the person capable of holding the blessings He's bringing your way. And on that day, you'll breathe deeper than you ever have. You'll smile softly and whisper through tears, "Ya Allah, I finally understand. Thank you for taking away what I thought I couldn't live without. Thank you for making space for what was truly meant for me." One day, you will stop asking why they left. The questions that keep you awake at night: was I not enough? Did I do something wrong? Could I have fought harder? They'll fade, slowly, like echoes drifting away in the distance. Because one day, you'll realize this was never about you not being enough. It was about Allah protecting you from what was never yours. If their presence was essential for your peace, Allah would have kept them. If their hands were meant to hold your heart, nothing could have pulled them away. If their soul was tied to yours in your decree, nothing and no one could have undone it. But they left because they were never written to stay. Right now, your heart still feels heavy. You keep scrolling through old photos, reliving memories that no longer belong to your present. You hear their name and something in your chest twists. You dream about them sometimes, and for a few seconds after waking up, you forget they're gone. Then reality washes over you like a wave, and the ache returns, stronger than before. But I need you to listen closely. This ache won't last forever. Every closed door is clearing the path for something better. Every unanswered dua is shaping the story you cannot yet see. Every person who leaves is making space for someone written in your qadr long before your heart ever knew how to hope. Some people are sent into your life to remind you of what you deserve, not to give it to you themselves. Their absence is not a punishment, it's a preparation. It's Allah saying, "I have something greater for you. I'm just teaching your heart how to hold it when it comes." And maybe, if they had stayed, you would have settled. Settled for a love that asked you to shrink yourself. Settled for a presence that gave you less than you gave. Settled for someone who fit into your prayers but wasn't aligned with your purpose. Allah loves you too much to let you settle. One day, you will stand beside the person who was always written for you. You'll hold their hand without fear, without doubt, without begging them to stay because what's written for you doesn't need to be chased. You'll feel the ease of something that was always meant to be yours. And in that moment, when your heart feels a peace it has never known before, you'll look back at this pain and whisper softly through grateful tears, "Ya Allah, now I understand. Thank you for letting go of what I begged you to keep. Thank you for protecting me from a love that wasn't mine. Thank you for giving me what was written for me all along. Because the truth is, what leaves was never yours, and what is yours will never leave." Until that day arrives, trust the emptiness, trust the silence, trust the ache that pulls you into sujood when you can't carry it anymore. This is where Allah is shaping you in the unseen. This is where He's making space for the blessings your heart can't even imagine yet. So, Let what leaves, leave, and let your heart rest in the one who never will. 6. The breaking that brings you back to Allah. Sometimes Allah lets your heart break, not to destroy you, but to call you back to Him. You don't see it while it's happening. You think you're losing everything. You think your life is falling apart, that the world has tilted under your feet and left you gasping for air. The one you thought you couldn't live without is gone. The future you built in your mind has collapsed. The laughter, the warmth, the familiarity, all of it reduced to silence. And in that silence you ask, Ya Allah, why me? Why this? Why now? But you don't realize this heartbreak is the mercy you prayed for without knowing it. Because sometimes Allah has to shatter the plans you built for yourself to save you from a path that would have broken your soul even more. Sometimes He has to strip away the people and the dreams you clung to so tightly because they were pulling you away from Him without you even noticing. You see, there are moments in life where Allah wants to speak to you, but your heart is too full of distractions to hear Him, so He empties it. He removes the person you thought you couldn't live without. He closes the doors you thought you needed open. He takes away the things you tied your happiness to, until there is nothing left to hold on to but Him. And at first, it feels like cruelty. You can't see the wisdom yet. You can't feel the love behind the loss. All you know is the ache in your chest and the weight of unanswered questions. But slowly, through the nights where sleep won't come, through the days where nothing feels real anymore, through the tears that fall without permission, something inside you begins to shift. You start whispering His name again, not out of routine, not out of habit, but out of need. Ya Allah, help me. And in that moment, when you call on Him from the deepest part of your breaking heart, He responds, quietly, gently, lovingly. This is why He let it break, because without this pain, you would have kept seeking comfort in what was temporary. You would have built your sense of worth on things that could leave, on people who were never written to stay. You would have kept chasing love in places that were never meant to hold your heart. So, He brought you here, to this silence, to this emptiness, to this place where every illusion fades away and only He remains, not to punish you, but to bring you closer. Sometimes Allah lets everything around you fall apart so that you finally notice the one place that never collapses Him. You don't see it when it's happening. You're blinded by the pain, drowning in questions you can't answer, begging for pieces of a past He already removed from your future. You look at the ceiling in the middle of the night and whisper words you've never said out loud before. Ya Allah, I don't know how to do this without you. And that is where it begins. Because sometimes the door to Allah is hidden inside the heartbreak you thought would destroy you. Sometimes the closest you'll ever feel to Him is when you're too broken to stand on your own. There are moments in life where He removes every distraction, every person, every attachment, every illusion you once thought was unshakable, until you're left face to face with the only one who never leaves. And when that moment comes, something inside you shifts forever. The tears you cry now are not wasted. Every one of them is carrying pieces of your old self away, the parts of you that thought you were in control, the parts that believed happiness lived in someone else's hands, the parts that forgot. Who writes the story before you ever breathe your first word? It hurts, I know. It hurts when someone you loved deeply is no longer in your life. It hurts when plans dissolve, when doors close, when the future you imagined burns quietly behind you. But it's through this pain that Allah is rebuilding you. He's teaching you the difference between love and attachment. Attachment makes you believe you can't live without someone. Love reminds you that you were never living for them. to begin with. Attachment ties your worth to what can leave. Love ties your heart to the one who never will. And right now, Allah is untangling your heart from the places it doesn't belong, even if it feels unbearable. Because He knows something you don't. You were never meant to serve people. You were never meant to find your identity in hands that can drop you. You were never meant to carry the weight of your purpose inside relationships that can disappear overnight. You were always meant to belong to Him first. This heartbreak you're feeling right now is not the sign of Allah abandoning you. It's the sign that He's pulling you back, closer than you've ever been. You may not see it yet, but this is the mercy hidden inside the pain. And one day, you'll thank Him for this. You'll look back on the nights you cried, the days you walked silently carrying wounds no one could see, and you'll whisper softly to yourself, "Ya Allah, if breaking me was the only way to bring me here, then it was worth it." There will come a night when the weight of everything you've been carrying finally catches up with you. You'll sit in the silence of your room, staring at the ceiling, and feel the ache in your chest rising like a tide you can no longer hold back. And for the first time in so long, you'll let the tears fall without trying to stop them. And it's there in the darkness, in the stillness, in the quiet breaking of your heart that something unexpected happens. You feel Him closer than ever before. You whisper words you've never said. "Ya Allah, I don't know what to do anymore. I can't carry this on my own." And without realizing it, your breaking has already brought you to the very place He wanted you all along, to Him. Because sometimes Allah removes everything you thought you needed, so you finally see the only one you've ever truly needed. He lets doors close so your heart stops chasing what was never written for you. He lets people leave so you stop clinging to hands that were never meant to hold you forever. He lets dreams collapse so you finally understand that your worth was never built on things that can fall apart. And in that silence, when it's just you and your tears, you'll begin to realize something you had forgotten. You were never abandoned. Every heartbreak that shattered you, He caught. Every tear that rolled down your face, He counted. Every silent dua that trembled on your lips, He heard. You thought you were alone, but you were being carried all along. This pain you're holding right now isn't here to punish you, it's here to purify you. It's scraping away the parts of you that depended too much on people, on plans, on things that were never meant to last. It's teaching your heart how to return to the one who never leaves. Because the truth is, sometimes Allah doesn't change your situation until He changes you. And sometimes the only way to change you is to break you open first. This breaking is not your ending, it's your beginning. One day, you will look back and realize this was the moment everything shifted. This was the moment Allah rewrote the story you thought was finished. This was the moment you stopped living for people who could leave and started living for the one who never will. And on that day, you'll smile softly, tears in your eyes, and whisper, "Ya Allah, thank you for pulling me back to you. Thank you for loving me enough to remove what was pulling me away. Thank you for the heartbreak that saved my soul." Because the deeper the breaking, the closer the return. And one day, you will finally understand. This pain was never here to destroy you. It was here to guide you home. 7. The waiting is not wasted. There's a reason why Allah makes you wait. I know it doesn't feel like it when the nights are long and quiet, when your chest feels heavy, when you watch other people's prayers being answered while yours remain wrapped in silence. You wonder if you've been forgotten. You wonder if Allah hears you at all. You wonder if your du'as are falling empty into the void. But you haven't been forgotten. Your silence has been heard, and your waiting has already been written. Because the delay is not denial. Sometimes Allah withholds what you're asking for because He's preparing your heart to hold it when it comes. Sometimes he pauses the story you've been begging him to write, not because he doesn't want to give it to you, but because he loves you too much to let you receive it before you're ready. You see, there are things you can't see yet, lessons hidden in this pause, strength being built in the silence, layers of you being shaped in ways you don't even realize. If Allah gave you what you're asking for right now, you might not be able to keep it. You might not be able to protect it. You might not even recognize it when it arrives. So instead, He makes you wait. He places you in seasons of emptiness so you can learn where fullness truly comes from. He closes doors so you can stop knocking on places that were never meant to hold your heart. He lets you taste solitude so you can learn the sweetness of turning back to Him. And I know how hard it is to breathe in these pauses. You scroll through life watching everyone else moving forward while you feel stuck in place, caught in the tension of prayers unanswered and dreams deferred. You wonder why it's taking so long. You wonder if maybe there's something wrong with you, but there's nothing wrong with you. This waiting is not wasted, because in this quiet, Allah is preparing you. He's teaching you patience you didn't know you had. He's softening the edges of your heart. He's rebuilding parts of you that were cracked from carrying too much weight in places that were never meant to hold you. And while you're sitting there thinking nothing's happening, everything is. Unseen blessings are being arranged. The right doors are being aligned. The right people are being prepared. And you're being molded into the person capable of receiving what you once begged for. This silence isn't punishment. It's proof that Allah is working on something greater than your imagination can carry. One day, you will understand why Allah made you wait. You will sit under a quiet sky, your heart steady, your breath soft, and you'll look back at every unanswered dua, every closed door, every silent night where you thought no one was listening, and you will see it. You'll see how every delay was a thread, carefully woven into the fabric of a story more beautiful than anything you had ever imagined. But right now, I know you can't see that. Right now, you're carrying the ache of longing. You're carrying prayers whispered in sujood that feel like they disappear into the floor beneath you. You're carrying dreams that sit quietly in your chest, untouched, unanswered, waiting for a day that feels like it may never come, and it hurts. It hurts when you watch others receive what you've been begging Allah for. It hurts when the doors you've been knocking on stay locked. It hurts when your heart begins to wonder if maybe, just maybe, your dua isn't worthy of being answered. But listen to me carefully. Allah never ignores you. Every single tear that falls is recorded. Every whispered prayer is heard. Every longing buried deep in your chest is known, even the ones you can't put into words. The delay doesn't mean He isn't listening. It means He is preparing. Sometimes the blessing you're asking for isn't ready yet, and sometimes you're not ready for the blessing. Allah sees the entire picture while you only see a single page. He knows which roads lead to dead ends and which doors hide storms behind them. He knows the weight of what you're asking for and whether your heart can hold it yet without breaking under its gravity. So, He delays, not to punish you, not to test your patience aimlessly, but to protect you and perfect you. Because when Allah gives, He doesn't give halfway. He gives fully, beautifully, perfectly, at a time when the blessing arrives exactly when it's meant to, not a moment too soon, not a moment too late. You may think you're standing still right now, stuck in a season where nothing is moving, but you're growing in ways you can't yet see. In this waiting, Allah is softening your heart. In this waiting, He's teaching you reliance. In this waiting, He's showing you that peace doesn't come from receiving what you want, but from trusting the one who knows when it's time. One day, when what you've been praying for finally arrives, you'll look back at this season of waiting and whisper through tears, Ya Allah, I see it now. Every delay, every closed door, every silent night. It was never wasted. There will come a day when everything you begged Allah for finally arrives. And in that moment, you'll understand why the wait had to be so long. You'll hold what's written for you in your hands, and you'll feel the weight of every tear, every sleepless night, every moment you almost gave up, and you'll realize it was all building towards this. But today, right now, you don't see it. Today, you're staring at a life that feels paused. You're waiting for doors to open, for prayers to be answered, for your heart to finally exhale after holding its breath for so long. You're watching people move forward while you're stuck in place, wondering if Allah has forgotten you. He hasn't. Not for a single heartbeat. This waiting you're in, it's sacred. Because this is where Allah writes strength into your soul. This is where He teaches you how to stand when everything feels uncertain. This is where He prepares you to hold the blessings He's already written for you, but hasn't shown you yet. The truth is, if He gave you what you wanted when you first asked, you might have ruined it. Your hands might not have been ready to carry it. Your heart might not have been healed enough to protect it. The people around you might not have been aligned yet. The timing might have broken what was meant to bloom. So He made you wait. And while you thought nothing was happening, everything was. He was moving pieces in the unseen. He was redirecting paths, aligning hearts, opening doors you didn't even know existed. He was working on your blessing in silence while working on you in the waiting. Every heartbreak that broke you was shaping you. Every no you faced was protecting you. Every delay was not a detour but a divine preparation. And one day, when Allah finally places into your life what you prayed for, you'll look back at this chapter and understand why it couldn't come sooner. You'll see how every disappointment was necessary, how every unanswered dua was carving space for something better, how every lonely night was leading you back to Him. And when you finally receive it, it won't feel rushed. It won't feel fragile. It won't slip through your fingers, because what's written for you comes with ease. It fits without forcing. It stays without begging. It arrives carrying peace, not chaos, because Allah sends nothing imperfect when the timing is His. Until that day, be gentle with your heart. The silence is not rejection. The delay is not neglect. This is love wearing patience. This is Allah saying, I am not ignoring you. I am arranging what you asked for in ways greater than you can dream. So breathe. Keep praying. Keep waiting. Keep trusting. Because one day, when your dua finally finds you, you will fall into sujood, tears spilling onto the floor, and whisper, Ya Allah, this timing is perfect. Thank you for not giving it to me when I asked. Thank you for loving me enough to make me wait. And you'll realize, not a single second of this waiting was ever wasted. 8. A dua for the heart reading this. My dear brother, my dear sister, I don't know the weight you're carrying right now. I don't know the heartbreak that has kept you awake night after night. I don't know the dreams that slipped through your hands, or the people you loved who walked away, or the prayers you whispered that still haven't been answered. But Allah knows. He knows the tears no one else has seen. He knows the silent screams buried deep in your chest. He knows the loneliness you never talk about, the moments where you smile in front of everyone but break when you're alone. And right now, as you read these words, He knows exactly what your heart needs, even the things you're too afraid to say out loud. So, I make dua for you. I ask Allah al-Latif, the most gentle, to ease the storm inside your chest. I ask Him to replace every ache in your heart with tranquility, every tear on your pillow with light, every disappointment you've endured with a blessing you cannot contain. I ask Him to heal you in ways you didn't even know you needed healing. I ask Him to write peace into your nights and strength into your mornings. I ask Him to open doors for you that you thought were permanently closed. I ask Him to write into your life the people who are meant to stay, the ones who make your heart lighter and your faith stronger. And I ask Him to remove from your path anything that isn't meant for you, even if you love it, even if you beg for it, even if you think you can't live without it, and replace it with what will lead you back to Him. Because, wallahi, nothing that brings you closer to Allah is ever truly a loss. Maybe right now your life feels paused. Maybe you're standing in the middle of unanswered du'as and unspoken dreams, and you're wondering if you'll ever feel whole again. But my dear soul, Allah hasn't forgotten you. He hasn't ignored a single prayer. He hasn't missed a single tear. Every delay is a preparation. Every heartbreak is a redirection. Every silence is Allah working in the unseen for you. I make dua that Allah gives you the kind of sakinah, the kind of deep, unshakable peace that no circumstance, no heartbreak, no loss can ever take away. I ask Him to make you fall so deeply in love with Him that you never confuse temporary people with eternal love again. And I ask Him to make your waiting short, your path gentle, and your ending beautiful. Ya Allah. For this heart reading these words right now, for every silent tear, for every heartbreak carried alone, for every hope held tightly in the dark, make them among those whose du'as are answered in ways they cannot imagine. Write for them joy after sadness, light after darkness, ease after every difficulty. And when you finally give them what they've been waiting for, let them fall into sujood, whispering through tears, Subhanallah, it was worth the wait. Ya Allah, for the one watching this right now, for the one who hides their pain behind smiles, for the one whose heart feels heavy, whose chest feels tight, whose soul is exhausted from carrying too much. Be their comfort when no one else notices. Be their strength when they can't find it within themselves. Be their healer when the wounds are too deep for words. Ya Allah, they've walked through storms only you witnessed. They've carried heartbreaks no one else saw. They've spent nights where their pillows soaked in tears became the only witness to their pain. And yet, they're still here, still trying, still holding on to you. So, reward them for their patience in ways only you can. Replace the weight on their shoulders with sakinah, that deep, soul-soothing peace that only comes from you. Replace their confusion with clarity, their fear with faith, their heartbreak with hope. Ya Allah, if their heart longs for something good, ease the path towards it, and if what they long for will harm them, place something better in its place, something they will thank you for one day, even if today they can't understand. I ask you to make them among those whose hands are never left empty after raising them to the sky. Ya Allah, open doors for them that they never imagined could open. Send rizq to them from places they never thought it could come. Surround them with people who remind them of you, and remove from their life anyone who drains their soul or pulls them away from your light. For every dream they buried in silence, revive it in ways more beautiful than they prayed for. For every heartbreak they thought they'd never recover from, replace it with a love that honors their soul and brings them closer to you. Ya Allah, make them content with your decree. Make them trust the timing you've written, even when they can't understand it. Plant in their heart the certainty that nothing you take away is truly a loss, and nothing you delay is ever wasted. And if they're sitting right now feeling lost, feeling unseen, feeling like maybe their du'as don't matter, wrap them in your mercy. Remind them that you've been listening all along, even when the world was silent. Remind them, Ya Allah, that you are Al-Wadud, the most loving, and that your love never leaves, never breaks, never abandons. Ya Allah. For this heart reading these words right now, For this soul that has carried silent battles, unspoken pain and uncried tears, hold them closer than ever before. Wrap them in your mercy until every wound finds healing. Surround them with your light until every shadow disappears. Fill their chest with tranquility until even their deepest fears dissolve into trust in you. Ya Allah, this heart has waited and prayed and endured more than it ever thought it could. There are dreams they buried because they thought you'd forgotten them. There are du'as they stopped making because silence became too heavy to bear. But you never forget. You never turn away. You never leave a believer empty-handed. So today, Ya Allah, I ask you to surprise them. Surprise them with a joy so deep it leaves them speechless. Surprise them with a blessing so big it silences years of pain. Surprise them with a love so pure, so safe, so gentle. It feels like a dua finally answered. Give them strength, Ya Allah, when they feel weak. Give them clarity when they feel lost. Give them hope when everything feels impossible. Give them patience until the plans you've written unfold. And most of all, give them you, because if they have you, Ya Allah, they have everything. If their heart finds rest with you, nothing this dunya takes or delays can shake them. Make them among those who turn to you first in times of need, and among those whose tongues are heavy with dhikr, even when their hearts are tired. Let every hardship they've faced become a reason for elevation, not despair. Ya Allah, protect this heart from what is not written for it. Close every door that leads them away from you, even if they beg for it to stay open. And open every door that leads them closer to you, even if they fear to walk through it. If they are waiting, make the waiting gentle. If they are longing, make the longing easeful. If they are hurting, make the hurting temporary. Grant them a love that feels like safety, a sustenance that feels like abundance, and a faith that feels unshakable. Ya Allah, let them one day fall into sujood with tears streaming down their face, whispering through trembling lips. Ya Allah, you never forgot me. Every delay, every heartbreak, every silent night, it was all leading me here, to this moment, to this peace. And until that day arrives, Ya Allah, keep them steady, keep them hopeful, keep their hearts soft, keep their trust unbroken. For this heart reading these words right now, make them among those you love most, among those whose du'as you answer in ways more beautiful than they dared to imagine, and among those whose final meeting is with you, where pain is no more and peace is forever. Ameen.